Hi guys, this is the fourth video of the restaurant management Golang backend series. So in this video, like I said, we'll start working on our database connection file. Let me close the other router files that we have already completed. Our main.go file is also completed, right? So database connection, this is going to be called package database. And we're going to import a couple of things here, out of which I'll definitely require context because I'll pass some context with timeout. I'll require fmt to print out stuff, and I'll use log to log out errors, time to give the timeout. Then I obviously need the MongoDB drivers, so I'll say mongodb.org/mongo driver/mongo and go.mongodb.org/mongo driver/mongo/options. All right. So if you save this file, since we're not using any of these packages, it will remove all of those. So don't save it right now. And here we'll create our function funcdb instance, and returns a Mongo client for you. So we have MongoDB. We'll give the link for MongoDB, which is MongoDB localhost 7017 in my case. If you don't have MongoDB installed on your local machine and you want to learn how to do it, there's a video in my channel. You can go and check it out. It's how to install MongoDB on Ubuntu. Otherwise, you can use a fully managed service also. You don't have to use it on your local host. The code will be exactly the same. You just have to replace your link here, that's it. And we'll just print out our MongoDB, and here I'll just make this b smaller because I might need to use MongoDB somewhere else, so just to avoid confusion here. So here I'll say mongo.new client. So I'll use the Mongo library and I'll use the new client function, and I'll say apply URI, and the URI that I want to apply is my MongoDB URI that I just created here. Okay, so that's what I'm sending in the options from this options package. So that will create a new client for me. So I want to capture that in a variable called client, and I'll also handle the error. Capture the error now, but I'll handle it right now. So let's handle the error. So I'll say if error not equal to nil, you will say log.fatal error. So in Golang, that's how we do it. We capture the error and then we handle it right there itself. We don't have a try catch block kind of situation. And then we'll have our context. Like I said, we'll have our timeout. So he will say I'll use my context package and with the timeout function, and I'll say context.background. And I'll use the time package to give it a time of about 10 seconds. All right. And we'll capture this in a variable called ctx. And we'll also have cancel. And cancel, you already know, needs to be deferred. So that runs at the end of the function. And now we'll use client.connect function. We'll pass our context to connect to the database. And if there's an error, we can capture it here. Now let's handle the error. So we'll say if error not equal to nil, we'll say log.fatal error, which is exactly the same that we did here. Okay. And if everything goes well, we'll print out in our console connected to MongoDB. And we'll return the client. All right. And after this, let's create the instance. So we'll say var client star mongo dot client is equal to db instance. So we'll call this function, which returns the client, which we'll capture in a variable called client. And now we have to create a function called open collection, which is this function, right? So in your database package, you need to have this function called open collection, which we don't have right now. And that's what we're creating. So we'll say func open collection takes in a client, which is Mongo client, takes in a, so this is Mongo dot client, sorry, takes in a collection name, which is string, and returns a Mongo collection. So it returns a particular collection in your MongoDB database. All right. So here we'll say var collection, which is type of Mongo dot collection, and client dot database. Now you can call the database anything here. So let's call it restaurant for now. Dot collection and collection name. Whatever collection name that you end up passing for this database. If it doesn't have this database, it'll create this database for you. So right now I'm just sending it as restaurant. Okay, and here we'll return collection. So this squiggly line will go away because right now we're not using it. So once we return it, the lines go away and the whole code is perfect now. There's no issues. So your database connection file is complete. All right, so we're moving quite fast. As you can see, we have created all of our routes. We have created our main.go file. We've created our database connection file, all within just the first 4 videos, which is quite fast. Now let's start creating the outline of our user controller. In my user controller, I'll just click on it, and in my user controller, I need to say that's a package controller. And this line obviously is going to be in all of these, right? These are all part of package controller. Cool. Let me go back to my user controller. Here I'm going to import a couple of things. And I'll have a function called getUsers. Right, if you go to your user routes, you'll come to know what I'm talking about. So we need to have a function called getUsers, getUser, sign up and login. These 4 functions at least we need in our controllers, right? So here we'll have a func getUsers gen.handler func. Okay, and here it will have a return func c star gen dot context, the standard gen syntax. And then you have your function for get user. So I'm just creating the outlines right now because I know I need these functions. So I'm creating a outline of all these functions that I know that I'll need. So this will return again a func which will return which will take c gen dot context, and then you have your sign up and login functions. So you'll say func sign up, U is capital, just make sure, gen dot handler func, and it's going to return a function c star gen dot context. All right, then you have your login function. Again, we'll say gen.handler func. We'll return a function again, takes context. Okay, so we have these 4 functions, but I need 2 more functions that you already know, because if you've done my JWT authentication series, you already know that we need 2 more functions. One is called the hash password function, which takes in your password, which is a string, and it returns a string which will be a hashed password. And you also know that I will need a function to verify password. When we are logging in the person, we want to be sure that's the same and the right person, right? So user's password and provided password is what it'll take, and it'll return a boolean saying, yeah, it's, you know, the right person who's trying to log in. Perfect. So these are the functions that I need. Now when I go to my user router, I'll see that all of the squiggly lines have gone away, because it's picking up all these functions that I just created, right? Even though there is no definition in those functions, it's still picking these up. Now there are squiggly lines here because I'm not returning anything from these functions. Because I'm returning something from here, so there's no problem, but I'm not returning anything from here. So that's why there are squiggly lines for these functions, and I am getting these errors. But it's not a problem. It's not at all a problem, and I can cross it out. Similarly, for food controllers, I'll create a couple of functions quickly, just the function outlines. So I like working in this way, where I've created all the routes, and now I know which all functions need to be present, and then I create just the outlines of those functions in all of the files, and then I start writing those functions. So that ways I've realized that you don't really miss a lot, because you already have the outline and you know what you need to be working on. So this is going to be now. I know this advice sounds like very small. It's a very small point, but it's a very strong advice when you're working on big projects and you have a lot of planning to do. Right, this will really help you. Right now, you'll feel like, "Arey, it's so obvious." Trust me, it's not obvious when you work on really big projects, and even the smallest mistakes can end up taking a lot of time. Anyhow, so here we'll return a function again. C star gen dot context. So I know I need this get foods function. Why? Because in my food router, I need get foods, I need get food, I need create food and update food. All right. So this is my get foods function, and then you'll create your get food function. So you'll come here and you'll say func get food gen dot handler func, and this will return c star gen dot context. Then you obviously need create food. Right, and you need update food. Okay. There are 2 more functions that I'll need, and I'll just create the outlines for those. So one is I need a function to round off the values. It will take a number and a float 64. Don't worry about it. I'll explain to you why I need it. Right now, just create this outline with me. And I need a toFixed function, which is going to take a number, which is going to be float 64 number. And it's going to have precision. It's going to be int. Is going to return a float 64. Okay. Now if we go to our food router, we can see that all the squiggly lines for the food functions have gone away, which is awesome. And similarly, I can do the same for my invoice controller as well. So I'll come to invoice controller, and here we'll have the same functions, right? Update, get invoices. Now between invoice controller and food controls, there'll be some differences in the functions, as in the function definitions. Name of the functions obviously are going to be same, but in the function definitions there are going to be some critical changes. So just be careful. I mean, don't copy and paste quickly in places where I'm not copying and pasting, because there could be possible landmines there, because invoices function is going to be a little different from the other, as in the functions in this file are going to be a little different from the other files. So I'll be typing this mostly by hand. I won't be copying and pasting a lot in this file. All right, when we start creating the definition of the functions. So you know that you need a get invoices, because you have a get invoices here. So now, as you can see, the squiggly line here has gone away because we just create that function here. Here similarly, we need get invoice, create invoice, and update invoice. So here, this part at least I can copy and paste. Right here, get invoice, I'll make it get invoice, and this is going to be create invoice, and I need update invoice. So I'll come here and I'll say perfect. So I need these 4 functions at least. Mind you, the definition is going to be slightly different of these functions from the other functions, other files. So I won't be copying and pasting the logic in these functions from other files. I'll be writing it by hand. So I'm just pointing it out to you. And for your menu controller, again, you'll have your create menu, update menu, get menus, all of that. So the way to check what all functions we need in our menu controller is from the menu router. So I need these 4 functions. So which is very similar to my invoices. So I'll copy this whole file, I'll paste it here, and I'll make this get menus. Okay, so get menus is sorted. Now I need get menu. I need create menu and update menu. Create menu and update menu. All right, so your menu controller is also, the outline is also done. Invoice controller outline is done. Food controller outline is done. Let's work on our order controller. Order controller, we'll copy and paste our invoice controller file completely here. And let's open up our order router. We need get orders, create order, update order. So come here, get orders, get order, create order, and update order. Perfect. So our order controller is done. Now let's work on our table controller. So for table controller, you'll open up your table router and you'll copy and paste this code from here into your table router, table controller. And here you'll have get tables and then get table, create table, and update table. All right, so all the squiggly lines have gone away, so that that means our work here is mostly done. Now comes the order item controllers. This is the part where you need to be a little careful, because in your order item router also you have one more extra function. All right, so I'm going to type this by hand. So I'll say func get order items gen.handler func return func c star gen dot context. So that's your get order items, and then you'll get you'll get order items by order. So get order items by order, right? This one. So here we'll create another function for get order items by order. Again, you'll say gen dot handler func return function c star gen dot context. Right, and I need one more function here. I'm going to call it items by order. So these two functions are completely different from other files. They're not the same, right? So that's where this file is very different from other files. This returns order items, will be primitive dot m, and have an error. Okay, now you'll create a function to get order item gen dot handler func return func c star gen dot context. Okay, and the last one that you want to sorry, the two more ones that are left. One is called the update order item. And you have your create order item function. Okay, so if you open up your order item router, you see that you've done get order items, get order item by order, create order item, and update order item. And this function, the get orders items by order, needs some support from items by order function. So this don't worry about this function right now. We'll create it, and then you'll understand why we have created it, because this function needs some support from this. But otherwise, everything else is basically all these functions we've covered here. So that's perfect. So that means that we've created our database.connection.go file completely in this video, and we have created the outline of all the functions and all of our controllers. And we're moving really fast in this series. If you've noticed, we're done with all our routes, all our main.go file, and in the next video, I think let's work on our models and also some of the functions in our controllers. All right, let's see. All right, so I'll have to end this video now because I have to take up another meeting. Thanks a lot for watching. Do subscribe to the channel so that you come to know when the next video of the series comes out, and see you in the next episode. Thank you.